Hello and welcome to Markets Today. I'm Lata Venkatesh. With me is Surabhi Upadhyay. Well, dressed in black and red is actually correct. A bit of a morning on the markets. If you are a bullish trader, it was such a rapid and widespread tumbling of shares. And at every point one thought probably 8,200, probably 8,150, probably 8,100, the buying will return. But it never quite returned. And the markets, after ending 2% lower, have stopped at the lowest point of the day, indicating perhaps more pain.
Absolutely, Lata. I mean, one can argue that we weren't the only Asian market falling today, but nevertheless, what a lot of pain that we've seen on the street. Let's start with the headlines. Carnage on Dalal Street. A surge in crude oil prices coupled with poor corporate results triggers widespread selling. The Sensex falls over 700 points. The Nifty falls 2.7%, closing below 8,100. All sectors end negative, with the Bank Nifty cracking 4%.
The pain is even more pronounced in the broader markets, with the mid-cap index falling 3.5%. Infrastructure and realty shares like Hindustan Construction, HDIL and Unitech tumble between 8 and 11%. Eros and Mandana, the two companies linked to actor Salman Khan, fall 6 and 4% respectively on concerns of business disruption after the actor got a 5-year jail term.
Crude oil rallies to fresh 2015 highs after rebounding over 20% in April. Shares of oil marketing companies like IOC, HPCL and BPCL fall anywhere between 4 to 7%.
The Lok Sabha passes the Constitutional Amendment Bill for Goods and Services Tax, or the GST. Finance Minister urges opposition parties to leave the final aspects of GST implementation to the GST Council. The bill will now face the litmus test in the Rajya Sabha. Well, those were some of the key headlines that came to us from Dalal Street, and here are the experts that we have lined up on the show for you. Pramod Gubbi, Director, Institutional Sales at Ambit Capital, will tell us what he thinks is weighing the market down. And to take the GST discussion forward, we will be joined by Dr. M. Govinda Rao, member of the 14th Finance Commission, Mr. Satya Podar, Partner, Tax and Regulatory Services at Ernst & Young, and Adi Godrej, Chairman, Godrej Group.
Okay, but first let's tell you what actually happened today. The bears have taken full control of Dalal Street, with all major indices taking a serious knock-in trade today. In fact, it's been the lowest closing for both the Sensex and the Nifty in 2015. Anuj Singhal is now joining in with more details of the day. Anuj, what a bad day for at least the bulls in the market.
Well, a bad day. Carnage on Dalal Street in today's trade. Nifty even broke 8,100. Forget about 8,200 in trade, in late trade. In fact, close below that. Year to date negative, and the lowest closing rate for the Sensex and the Nifty. What happened in the morning was that there was a bit of an algo trade, or at least that was the buzz, that many lakh Nifty futures got shorted first thing in the morning, 9:41. But that alone won't explain the fall that we had, because after that we had the entire day and the market just kept grinding lower. And in fact, the mid caps fell like 9 pence in today's trade. And as I said, it's the lowest close in 2015. So what's ailing this market? Because we had a bit of a short covering bounce on Monday, and that was sold into now in today's trade. There are 3 or 4 factors that are at play right now. Right on top is poor earnings. That's clearly impacting the sentiment the most. Apart from that, consistent FII selling. There's a bit of a fatigue with the Modi government as well, now that we are completing 1 year of the government. Rupees fall despite the fall in dollar index, and the way the rupee is falling, that's also having a bit of an impact. Crude's big rally. In fact, crude has rallied 40% from the bottom. That was a big factor last year on the positive side. This year on the negative side, that's impacting. And of course, this FII taxation that refuses to go away. Now let's talk about the stocks actually that led the market down today. A lot of heavyweights slipped below the 200-day moving average. Stocks like ICICI, Larsen & Toubro, NTPC were all lower. Apart from that, some other nifty losers included stocks like Maruti, ITC, ONGC, all lower by about 2 to 4% in today's trade. Banks, they were all weak across the board. Kotak, Bank of Baroda, Yes Bank, all lower by about close to 5%. But outside the index, this is where the pain was felt the most. And these are all F&O names. Wockhardt was down 9%, IOC was down 8%, Aurobindo Pharma was down 6%. Some more mid-caps, HDIL, that was down about close to 10%. Century Textiles down 10%, Unitech down 9%. I can go on and on. 25 F&O stocks were lower by at least 5% or more. So really right now, the big question is, has the market made a bit of a panic bottom, or does the market correct more from here? And right now, the screen is telling you that the market is still seeking lower levels.
Thanks a lot for that, Anush. The point is taken that this is a widespread fear, and for the moment it doesn't even look like a buy on dips market. It looks like you will sell every time you get a little bit of money. Well, the point to note is that two big macros for India are now going exactly wrong. One, of course, is crude. From December, up until December last year, we saw this rapid decline in crude prices, which made India, with each passing day, a more and more attractive macro, because crude is such a big import item. It improves our fiscal deficit, improves our current account deficit, lowers inflation. What more can you ask? On the way up, exactly all the three come into problem. While, of course, external account or current account is not an issue, fiscal deficit is still touch and go. I mean, we are still at 3.9% with crude counted as about $50. If crude is $80, then all the arithmetic on the fisc goes out of the market, goes out of the system, as does inflation calculations. The expectation is that it is going to go down till 4% up until August, and even when it rises, will not rise beyond 5.5%. But all that assumes crude at $45, $50. If crude is assumed at exactly double at $80, then you have a different arithmetic even on inflation, which means rate cuts that were expected will not come. Margin increases for Indian companies because of lower and lower commodity prices are not going to be a reality. And therefore, the gains and the earnings calculations are all going out of the system. Macros and micros are affected. And that is why you will see that the stocks that were affected today, banking, realty, power, infrastructure, are all economy-facing indexes. And those were the stocks that took it in the neck. Of course, it was not restricted to any one set of stocks or categories of stocks. It was an across-the-board selling, purely because it is expected that fresh money will not favor India. India is not the favored destination it has been for the last 18 to 24 months.
Right, Lata. So plenty of concerns out there, and obviously the market and investors and traders in the market reacting to those concerns. Let's get some opinion going as well. And here's a bearish call coming in. Pramod Gubbi, Director Institutional Sales at Ambit Capital, says there are no positive triggers in the market at the moment, at least. He sees further correction and says that is inevitable.
If you look at the horizon, there's hardly any positive catalyst for the index or the markets in general to go up from here. And indeed, there could be a number of negative catalysts, both global and local. Macro indicators as well as corporate profitability, as we've seen in this earnings season itself, should remain a drag on the markets in general. In the global markets, there are just too many moving parts, and anything can surprise on the negative, which could add to the negative. So, in short, I think we do see more downside to the market from these levels. About a few months ago, when we were sitting here and discussing, if you're a global investor looking around different asset classes in different markets to invest in, India clearly stood out. Today, that's not the case. Clearly, expectations about India have been pulled back. At the same time, there are a few other alternatives that have emerged. So the real catalyst could be money actually rotating out of India into some of these other asset classes or other markets within equity markets in general. We've already seen a beginning of that happening into China, into Korea, Taiwan, and particularly commodity markets are also taking in some flows. So to that extent, if that continues, we could actually see a meaningful downside in absolute terms.
Right, it's a reality check coming from some big investors. And now for the other big story. It's taken 5 long years, but the GST Constitutional Amendment Bill has finally been passed by the Lok Sabha today. But this is not without its share of drama, as the Congress staged a walkout before the voting began. This landmark legislation will now have to be passed by the Rajya Sabha, where the government does not have the numbers, and only then is the way paved for the next round of negotiations on how and when to implement the new tax structure. A lot of work still needs to be done, though, before the GST can actually be rolled out across India. The one issue that tops the list is arriving at a revenue-neutral rate, which is acceptable to all states and to the centre and to industry. The final bill, though, is a much diluted one when compared to the first draft, with some key products like petroleum, tobacco products and liquor being left out of the ambit of the GST. And the central government has had to promise that any loss to the states will be compensated in full.
In order to compensate the manufacturing state, once goods manufactured in their states go out, various protections have been granted to them. The first protection is that we have said for a period of 5 years, and that's a part of the Constitution amendment, any loss suffered will be borne by the centre, and we will compensate the state. The second very genuine concern that some of the members have raised is that a figure was being floated that will it be 27% and 27%. The revenue neutral rate is going to be, and therefore the cost and the prices itself will go up. I straight away concede that 27% will be very high. The government or the GST Council has not given this figure. A particular organization in its own internal assessments did start regarding what is the revenue neutral rate. That will be one of the inputs. It got leaked out and somebody said it's 26.8. So that is how this figure of 27% was born. After this 27% was born, the states and the centre have decided for the present to keep alcohol out. We have decided to keep petroleum out. And then every state chief finance minister is not interested in imposing higher taxes on his own people. Neither is the central government. And therefore this figure is going to be much more diluted compared to the figure which has been mentioned. And these are rates which will be all decided by the GST Council itself.
Okay, that was the Finance Minister in the Lok Sabha. So one hurdle cleared, one more to go. But has the government managed to iron out all the differences? Let's find out how tax experts and corporate India is viewing the GST bill in its current form.
It is technically it's possible to resolve it because in the Constitution they simply say that the tax will apply on interstate supplies. But the law for implementing this tax can define the supplies very narrowly. The least they could do is to go back to the concept of interstate sales as opposed to interstate supplies, and then the tax of 1% will apply in the same manner as the currently 2% tax that applies to interstate sales. So it is possible to resolve it. Now, as far as the loss to Gujarat is concerned, I really say that Gujarat loss cannot take precedence over the loss to the economy.
It is just a minimalist plank. I mean, this is just a framework. There are a lot more things that needs to be done. Even in this minimalist framework, it's not a flawless sort of bill in the sense that there have been a number of things that have been left out. I don't think we should consider this as a major game changer. This is an important reform. And this reform is a process, and I think, that's where we should start and start moving from there. And, this is not an event, it's a process.
This is a tremendous reform for the country. It will add at least 2 percentage points to our GDP growth, other things being equal, if we are able to implement it as scheduled from the 1st of April 2016. In fact, it is possible that if we are able to do that, in 16-17, we could see double-digit GDP growth.
Okay, so that's industry sounding extremely optimistic. Let's turn our attention back to the markets. It was a day of deep correction with all sectors bleeding, ending in the red, and the Bank Nifty cracking 4%. 31 stocks in the Nifty today fell below their 200-day moving average. Varinder, who has done a lot of number crunching on these stocks, is here with us to give us that list. Varinder, who do you think are the biggest culprits and who look most vulnerable now?
Well, thank you so much. Clearly the markets were very, very weak today. And important to know is that nearly 60% of Nifty stocks are trading below that 200 DMA mark, which is a very important critical technical level. 31 out of 50 stocks are trading below 200 DMA, and the fall which you saw in the markets today were led by the stocks which were just very near to that critical level. Look at some of the stocks which went below 200 DMA, broke that level very comprehensively. ICICI Bank, Tata Motors, L&T, Ambuja Cement, Grasim, all these 5 stocks fell below 200 DMA today, and clearly L&T and ICICI Bank were the topmost contributors if you have to watch for the highest point fall in the Nifty chart today. So that tells you how critical this 200 DMA is. Watch out for few stocks which are just trading either flat or plus 3, 4, 5% from the 200 DMA mark, and these could be important because if they fall below 200 DMA, the markets will certainly be more weak going ahead. Keep an eye on NTPC, HDFC, IDFC, HDFC Bank, Bharti Airtel, Asian Paints, Cipla. The most important, of course, will be HDFC Bank, Asian Paints and Bharti. These are the biggest stocks in terms of contribution chart. So watch out for these 3-4 stocks importantly in the next few days. Some of the stocks which have been the strongest year to date and are trading well above the 200 DMA mark, like Lupin, Yes Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Axis Bank, Maruti. Watch out for if there is any profit booking which may come on these stocks or not. But clearly, it was ICICI Bank and L&T which fell below that 200 DMA mark today. And watch out for HDFC Bank, Bharti Airtel, Asian Paints going ahead because they are trading very close to that very important level of 200 DMA.
All right, Varinder, thanks so much for that. Time for a break, but coming up on the other side, Sudarshan Sukhani will be joining in to talk about the technicals after this market fall. We'll also get you some trading ideas.